us and tell us, what is it that you guys want?
Yeah. Well, I am just going to tell you 3 points. Sometimes women can be a little bit of an enigma. We can be complicated, but I think this concept of love is really very simple. We're going to break it down into 3 points, or 3 P's, as we like to call it. The number one is provision. Number two, profession. Number three, protection.
In the bluntest, most easy to understand point, a woman wants a man who's going to be a man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether you make more money than her.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't matter if you bring in most of the bread. What she really cares about is that you're showing the effort to be her man.
Yes.
Someone who's going to stand strong, who's going to handle his business. The guys who are like, well, you know, I'm trying to go, I'm trying, but then they're really not, and they're really making excuses. You know, our wives can tell when we're really not doing anything. So basically, no woman wants a man who's not being a man, and so she's basically just going to talk about what providing means for her from a woman's standpoint.
I think he brought out a really important point. We want the effort. We want the effort. I know men who, I don't know them personally, but I've heard stories of men who had degrees and they had to go back for whatever reason to cutting grass or working at Burger King. We just want the effort. Provision is just you assuming responsibility to take care of what's yours. And when that happens, we process that in a really strange type of way as love. And I just want to tell you, women, whether your husband is making 6 figures or whether he's making, I don't know what the minimum wage is now, $15 an hour, $10 an hour, whatever the minimum wage is, we just appreciate you assuming responsibility to care for us. Now, that doesn't mean that the wife cannot work. Really, in this day and age, I think in order to make it, especially if you have children, if you have a lot of expenses, I think that there needs to be 2 people that are working and helping to balance the finances. But still, the primary responsibility of a man when he has a family and has a wife is to provide financially for his family.
Listen, you know, this guy, he's really into me. But if you have a guy, especially a husband, who won't work, won't provide, won't do anything for his wife, you know, it's not bringing home any bread, she doesn't feel like she has a man at all.
Yeah.
You know? So number one, provision. And if you're married to a woman and then not doing anything to take care of her, it instinctively feels to her like, okay, I don't have any value in his eyes. Like, he doesn't feel that I'm worth taking care of me. I know I may make more money, but he's not even trying. And so it's really important that you try and provide and put something on the table.
It is important, and no matter what you have to do, you know, I understand that not every man is able to make 6 figures or to make a significant amount of money. You fall on hard times, even with a degree.
It happens.
Sometimes,
yes,
you know, you have to start all over. And I think it's important for a woman, if your man is in that season where he's having to work, you know, for a little of nothing, minimum wage, whatever that is at this point, you have to respect his effort, you know, respect his effort. And I just want to tell you, you know, men, we just appreciate the fact that you try, you know, that you try, because that communicates that you love us. A woman wants you just to assume the responsibility of taking care of your household. Now, that is not to say that the woman can't work. In these days and times, I think it requires 2 households, 2 incomes if you are married. But we don't want to have to go to work and you coming home eating popcorn,
Playing
sitting
Xbox.
on, absolutely,
Going to
sitting
shoot
on
basketball with the boys.
Yeah, and I bring up the example of McDonald's just to say anything is better than you just sitting on the couch, you know. So number one, provision.
Okay, number 2. This one is profession. Now, this is my favorite one because this is the one that I had the hardest time learning and the most difficulty learning because it just didn't come natural to me. And profession is about making sure your woman knows that she is your number one and that everyone else around knows who she is and what she means to you. And making sure your woman knows that she is the one and that no other woman has your heart no matter how good she looks and that you show everyone around, yeah, this is mine and I'm hers. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing about profession is basically just saying it publicly. Because it's one thing to be loved privately, you know. It's one thing, you know, when you're at your home and he's taking care of things, he's loving you, he's providing for you, he's loving you. But for a woman, that really means nothing. And I do mean nothing until that inward expression is expressed outwardly.
Yeah, in front of other people.
In front of other people, because that lets the woman know and all other people know this is not just the first one, this is the only one. And I can't even tell you, and a lot of people say, well, if you were secure, you wouldn't need that. Well, it has nothing to do about security. It has something to do about marking what's yours.
Oh my God.
And it's something about,
Now, that was good because even in the animal kingdom, you know, the male marks their territory. And they let every other animal, every other species know this is mine. You know, and if another animal comes up and tries to take the animal's female, it's time to fight, it's time to throw down. And a woman likes to be claimed.
A woman loves to be claimed. And that is what profession is all about. Profession is, I just want to be marked, you know. A ring signifies I'm taken, you know. And a woman wears that with pride. You know, I'm married. My husband chose me. And I'm going to use this story and then we'll probably end with this part. But I remember T.D. Jakes, many of you may know him, but he was celebrating one of his anniversaries.
I was going to do that when Shiki stole it.
Yeah, well,
okay, go ahead. No, go do it.
Okay, yeah, well, he was celebrating one of his anniversaries, and I think it was around the 30th year mark. And he said that he learned that whenever he would get his wife like 2 dozen roses, right? And so he would bring it to her, and you know, her expression would be, "Oh, thank you, you know, thank you." But he said he noticed that when he did it in front of his church, which was thousands of people, she just transformed, you know, into another woman. And let me say something about my husband. He's fine, okay? Okay?
Well,
he is. He's fine. He is not just fine outwardly, but inwardly, he is the ideal man. And I am so blessed to have him. Now, if I'm blessed to have him, you know, okay, let's just keep it all the way 100. There are women out there who don't care if you're married, you know. They really don't care. And what profession does, it says,
that's good.
I choose you. I don't care about I had a woman tell me one time, I don't care if he is your husband. You know, I didn't care if he was your husband. I was going to pursue him anyway. And I wanted to say, you know, but I didn't, you know. But I didn't have to say it. I didn't have to say it. I didn't have to respond to her at all, because he has always made it a point, and I'm so appreciative for this. He has always made it a point to let the world know this is my baby, you know? And that goes a long way. So number 2, profession.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, and the last of the P's is protection. Now, before I go into physical protection, I'm going to take a slightly different angle with this. I think it is so important, especially for women who are Christians, to have a covering. That is so important because as a woman, you're going to go through so many things throughout the course of your marriage. You're going to go through disappointment. You're going to go through hurt feelings. You're going to go through moments where you were so angry but you can't say nothing, you know. But those emotions don't go anywhere. They're all bottled up. It has been the greatest blessing of my life to have a man that covers me and protects me spiritually, because not only has that spiritual protection shaped me into the woman that I've become, but it's also allowed me to have a safe place, to be able to just let my emotions go, whether it's anger, whether it's upsetness, whether it's sadness, whether it's dealing with the death of a family member. Recently, a year ago, I lost my grandmother. That was devastating for me, and he was right there, you know. When I broke down, he was right there. When I was well and wasn't crying, he was right there. You know, when I cried again, he was right there. And not only, it wasn't the fact that he was just quoting scriptures over me. No, he wasn't quoting scriptures over me. But I knew, because of what he had given in our home for all of these years, I knew that he carried what I needed. The peace and the comfort of God. Even though I couldn't tap into it myself, he carried that. The second aspect, which is really, really huge, I think, too.
Before you go, can I say something about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Spiritual covering thing is huge. And, you know, and the spiritual protection, because before we started making this video, I was only thinking about physical, you know, honestly, that's what I was thinking about. But she began to talk about that spiritual covering and protection. And it's something about a man who knows how to pray.
Yes.
There's something about a man who knows the word of God and
Yes.
can bolster his household with the presence of the Lord. You know, and so it's very important that not only do you protect her if someone tries to break in the house or if somebody's trying to attack her when she's getting her in her car, but if you can't pray, brother, you know, there's a piece missing.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Protect your wife through prayer. Protect your wife through knowing the Lord and being able to cover in that way. It's super important.
Yeah, and I want to say something too. You know, he talks about protection in the spirit and also a physical type of protection. Now, for years, I feel really bad about this now, but for years, I forbid him to get a gun. Like, I was like, I have children, like, don't bring a gun in this house. Promise me you're not going to have a gun in this house. You know, I had heard so many stories. And because he was the presence that he was, I was like, he'll protect me. You know, he'll protect our children. You know, God ain't going to let nothing happen to us. You know, that's kind of how I was. And not too long ago, we were we were in our bedroom, and our kids were in the great area. And someone tried to break in our home. Okay. And my husband immediately sprung into action, and he had a gun. Now, he didn't tell me he had a gun. I was thinking he didn't have a gun, you know, because I had never seen it, you know. He had never had it out. But I was so thankful that my husband had more than prayer that night. I was so thankful. And so that's another way that love is communicated to a wife, is through protection. When you love something, you protect it. And I know that women will not say this to you, but a lot of times we view our husbands just like we view our fathers. And if you've never had a father, when you go into marriage, that's really what you're looking for. You are still looking for provision. You are still looking for protection.
That's very,
and you're
very
still
true.
looking for profession.
That's very true.
And so I just want to end with this. If you are looking to communicate to your wife love, you've got to speak it in that language. Provide for her. Profess your love for her. and protect her. Even if that means you getting a gun and she not knowing about it. All right.
On YouTube at SRMJ Enterprises,
Enterprises.
and you can go to our website at sheltonmartin.com. Matter of fact, I encourage you to sign up for Dinner with the Martins.
Yeah,
We meet
so
with
fun,
couples
so
all
fun.
the time,
Yeah.
and we just try to pour out the knowledge that we've learned and wisdom that we've learned over 17 years to figure out how to keep this together and make it thrive. And we'll sit with you and hear your story and talk with you and give you the best advice that we can concerning how to go to the next stage in your marriage. So sign up for Dinner with the Martins on sheltonmartin.com. You'll see it. Also, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. All right, love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.